Beloved soul, pause for a moment and listen closely, for what you are about to receive is not just another story nor a simple spiritual message. What arrives to you in this moment is an eternal calling that crosses the veil of time, dimensions, and hearts. It is the voice of a master who does not belong only to the past, but who remains present in every soul that seeks the truth. Saint Germain, ascended master, guardian of the violet flame and messenger of spiritual freedom, left a legacy so vast and profound that his footprints continue to mark the history of humanity and the destiny of Earth. His message is not theory nor empty philosophy. It is a living vibration, a frequency that activates in the innermost part of your being when your heart is ready to remember it. And if today you hear these words, it is because your soul had already been waiting for them. Nothing that happens here is a coincidence. You did not arrive at this video by accident. On higher planes, before incarnating in this world, your spirit made a pact, a divine agreement, to encounter these teachings at the exact moment when your consciousness would be prepared to receive them. This instant is part of that pact. This encounter is the confirmation that the universe is responding to your inner quest. To listen to what Saint Germain brings today through these words is to open hidden doors within you. They are portals of consciousness that awaken ancient memories, revelations your spirit already knows but your mind had forgotten. It is the reminder that you came with a sacred mission, a task that not only transforms your life, but also brings light to the collective awakening of humanity. Do not think this is just another piece of content among thousands. Every word that reaches you can be a key capable of changing the direction of your destiny. It can awaken dormant forces within you, heal deep wounds, and show you that the path to the new earth begins inside your own heart. That is why I invite you to open yourself completely to this experience. Do not listen only with your mind, but with your entire being. Let the energy sustaining this message pass through your thoughts, caress your emotions, and touch the purest essence of your soul. Because from this moment on, your life can be transformed. From this instant, you can begin to walk with greater clarity, greater purpose, and greater connection with the divine. This is not a casual encounter. It is the beginning of a revelation. The legacy of Saint Germain returns to you with renewed strength to remind you who you are, where you come from, and where you are headed. Prepare yourself, because what you are about to hear can mark a before and after in your existence. The mystery of Master Saint Germain. To speak of Saint Germain is to enter a mystery that challenges common logic and transcends the limits of known history. He was not an ordinary man, nor a figure locked within a single era, but rather a multidimensional being whose presence manifested at different crucial moments in humanity. He walked among kings, alchemists, artists, philosophers, and visionaries, and in each of those encounters he planted seeds of freedom, wisdom, and transformation. Saint Germain is recognized as an ascended master, a being who managed to break the chains of time and overcome the limitations of matter to become the guardian of eternal knowledge. His teachings were not only words, but concrete acts that marked revolutions, inspired movements of freedom, and ignited the spark of spiritual awakening in thousands of hearts. Wherever humanity faced darkness, he appeared as a beacon of light, reminding us that the human destiny is not slavery, but the expansion and sovereignty of the Spirit. His mystery lies not only in his ability to appear in different periods of history, but in the implicit message he left with his life, that the human being can transcend the limits of linear time, that one can elevate one's consciousness until becoming the conscious creator of one's own destiny. Saint Germain represents that sacred union between the human and the divine, between the fragility of earthly experience and the infinite greatness of the spirit. Studying his legacy, we discover that he did not come to impose dogmas or religions, but to deliver tools of liberation. He was an alchemist not only of metals, but of souls. His true work was to demonstrate that every human being has within the capacity to transmute suffering into wisdom, fear into love, and darkness into light. He is living proof that divinity is neither distant nor reserved for a select few, but dwells within each of us, waiting to be recognized and activated. The mystery of Saint Germain is not a historical enigma for intellectuals. It is a personal calling to your life. His existence confirms that your destiny is not written in stone, that you can free yourself from the chains of the past, that you can access higher dimensions of consciousness and begin, from this very moment, to build the life your soul longs for. Saint Germain was not just a master of his time. He is and will continue to be a master for all humanity, because his message resounds more strongly than ever in this present. In remembering him, we remember what we ourselves are capable of achieving, to transcend the illusion of limitation and embrace the eternal truth that we are divine beings on a journey of infinite expansion. The violet flame, a doorway to liberation. Of all the legacies that Saint Germain left to humanity, none is as powerful and transformative as the violet flame. This is not an abstract idea nor a poetic symbol, but a living energy, a spiritual frequency that acts directly upon the essence of the human being. The violet flame is the highest tool of transmutation that exists, because it has the capacity to dissolve karmic burdens, purify painful memories stored in the consciousness and in cellular memory, and transform the densest energies into pure light. When we speak of karma, we do not speak of punishment, but of accumulated learnings, energetic imprints carried from this and other lives. It is those imprints that often condition our reality, repeating patterns of pain, fear, and limitation. Saint Germain showed us that the violet flame can free us from those invisible chains, not as an external act, but as an inner process through which the soul remembers its power to transform shadow into light. What is most striking is that this energy is not reserved for a few initiates. You do not need to belong to a secret order or be a spiritual master to invoke it. The violet flame responds to the sincere call of your heart, to your pure intention and your faith. It is a force activated through conscious decree, through words that carry vibration, but above all through the inner certainty that light can transform absolutely everything. When you invoke the violet flame, you do not merely utter a decree. You open a direct channel to the power of transmutation. It is as if a sacred fire descended upon you and began to envelop every thought, every emotion, and every memory, dissolving what no longer belongs to your evolution and raising your vibration to a frequency of freedom. This flame cuts invisible ties with past experiences, cleanses ancient wounds, and opens new pathways toward a life where suffering no longer has power over you. Imagine for a moment all that you have silently carried: guilt, resentments, betrayals, fears that seem endless. The violet flame can take those energies and transform them into pure light, freeing you from what you believed impossible to heal. This is the true gift of Saint Germain, reminding us that nothing is lost, that nothing is definitively written, because everything can be transformed when it is touched by the vibration of transmuting love. The violet flame is not only for healing the individual, it is also a service to humanity. Every time you invoke it, you not only cleanse your life, you also contribute to the purification of collective consciousness. You help to dissipate the density that covers the planet and create space for the new Earth to manifest more quickly and clearly. That is why Saint Germain called this sacred fire the doorway to liberation. For whoever learns to work with the violet flame ceases to be a slave to the past, breaks the repetition of pain, and becomes a co-creator of a free, conscious, and luminous life. The violet flame is the certainty that there is always a way out, a path, a new possibility, even in the darkest moments. The question is, are you willing to invoke it and allow its sacred fire to transform your life? The legacy of freedom and the new humanity. Saint Germain was not a master who limited himself to speaking of spirituality in the abstract, separate from everyday life. His mission was integral, for he understood that true spirituality had to manifest in every aspect of human existence, including how peoples organize, govern, and coexist. Therefore, in addition to offering teachings on transmutation and inner liberation, he strongly propelled the ideas of freedom, justice, and prosperity on earth. His vision went far beyond the limits of his time. Saint Germain knew that humanity could not attain genuine evolution while remaining subject to systems of control, mental slavery, and social manipulation. He understood that it is not enough to liberate the soul if external structures continue to oppress the human being. Thus he worked in silence, inspiring revolutions, supporting processes of political and social transformation, and reminding us that spirituality must also be expressed in the material world. The true legacy of Saint Germain is to prepare the ground for a new humanity, conscious, free, and sovereign. His message was not a call to escapism or to flee reality, but to embody divinity in daily life, to bring light into the concrete world. The new Earth, he announced, is not a physical place to which we will travel someday. It is a state of consciousness already gestating within every waking human being. In this new Earth, there will no longer be a place for the mental slavery that for centuries kept humanity trapped in fear and ignorance. Nor will there be manipulation or deceit seeking to separate and divide. It will be a society where truth is valued as the fundamental pillar of coexistence, where abundance ceases to be the privilege of a few to become everyone's natural right, and where love is the force guiding every individual and collective decision. That future is not a distant utopia. It is a reality beginning to be built in this very moment, through each person who chooses to awaken. Every time you choose truth over lies, every time you practice justice in your actions, every time you share what you have with love, you are placing a brick in the foundations of that new humanity Saint Germain envisioned. His legacy calls to us urgently today. It reminds us that we cannot wait for others to create the change for us, because transformation begins in every heart. The Master shows us that together, united in consciousness, we can dismantle the old paradigms of oppression and build a world where freedom and sovereignty are no longer ideals but real experiences. Saint Germain remains a living voice urging us to remember that humanity was not created to live on its knees, but to walk upright, illuminated and aware of its greatness. And that call resounds stronger than ever today, because the time of the new Earth has arrived and you are an essential part of its birth. The violet fire in your daily life. The teachings of Saint Germain were not given to remain in ancient books nor to be contemplated as distant theories. His purpose was always practical, close, and applicable to the everyday life of every human being. The violet flame, that sacred fire he revealed to the world, is not knowledge reserved for hidden temples or initiates, but a living tool that can radically transform the way you think, feel, and act each day. Every thought that crosses your mind, every emotion that passes through your heart, and every word you speak carries a vibration. Many times those vibrations drag along burdens of fear, anger, resentment, or doubt, and that is where the violet flame acts as a purifying fire. When you invoke this energy and allow it to envelop your consciousness, those thoughts and emotions cease to be chains and begin to transform into light. The violet fire does not erase your experience nor annul what has been lived. Rather, it elevates it. What once was pain becomes wisdom. What once was limitation becomes strength. What once was shadow becomes an impulse toward light. Each time you use this energy, your field of vibration expands, your frequency rises, and you naturally attract experiences that resonate with this new level of consciousness. Applying the violet flame in your daily life means remembering that there is no situation so small nor challenge so great that it cannot be transformed. You can invoke it upon waking, bathing your day in its energy of freedom. You can apply it in your relationships, enveloping any conflict or misunderstanding in its fire. You can use it to heal family memories, repeated patterns, or inherited burdens that seemed impossible to change. And you can also apply it in moments of personal pain, to remember that even in the densest darkness there is always a way out toward the light. With constant practice, your very life becomes a living altar. Every everyday action, from work to the simplest conversations, can become a sacred act when you envelop it with a violet flame. The impossible begins to become possible, because the past no longer drags you down and the future opens with infinite possibilities. You realize you are not condemned to repeat old mistakes, because within you there is a divine power that can always renew, heal, and set free. This sacred fire is, in truth, a reminder of who you are. You are not a limited being trapped in your mistakes. You are a conscious creator with the capacity to purify, redirect, and elevate every aspect of your existence. The violet fire not only clears what weighs you down, it teaches you to live with lightness, with confidence, and with the certainty that love and freedom are your true essence. When you understand this, each day ceases to be a routine and becomes a path of ascension. Because living with a violet flame is not waiting for external miracles. It is awakening to the miracle that you yourself are, here and now. The bridge to the new earth. The cosmic legacy of Saint Germain is, above all, a bridge. Not a physical bridge made of stone and wood, but a spiritual, energetic, and conscious bridge that connects two completely different realities. On one side is the old world, marked by suffering, limitations, and the slavery of the mind. On the other side is the new earth, a state of freedom, fullness, and connection with the divine. And that bridge is not outside, it is within you, waiting for you to decide to cross it. Crossing that bridge is neither automatic nor imposed. It is a sacred choice, a deeply personal decision. It means taking a leap of faith into a life in which you recognize that you are no longer a victim of circumstances, but the conscious creator of your destiny. It means leaving behind the chains of fear and beginning to walk with the certainty that your soul has direct access to the divine source, to the eternal light that has always been with you. The new earth is not a distant place we will arrive at someday in the future. It is not a paradise reserved for a few. It is a state of consciousness that opens here and now, every time a human heart chooses to awaken. It is the vibration born when you decide to live from truth, when you choose love over fear, when you transform pain into learning and darkness into light. Saint Germain taught that this bridge is real and that we can all cross it, but that it is not crossed with theories or empty words, rather with concrete actions and daily decisions. Every time you invoke the violet flame to transform your thoughts, every time you choose forgiveness instead of resentment, every time you share light instead of darkness, you are taking firm steps across that bridge to the new earth. Crossing it is a process of profound transformation. It means accepting that the old has already fulfilled its purpose and you no longer need to drag it along. It means releasing inherited fears, accumulated guilt, and belief systems that made you small. It means daring to walk into the unknown with the certainty that life itself sustains you. And when you finally begin to live from that new vibration, you discover that the new earth is not a future promise but a reality manifesting within you. Your relationships fill with more truth, your mind opens to new possibilities, your heart beats with greater compassion, and your entire life aligns with the abundance of the universe. Then you understand that you did not cross a bridge only for yourself, but that you also opened a way for others to cross. This is the great call of Saint Germain's legacy, to remind us that we all have the capacity to cross that bridge. That the whole of humanity is invited to take that leap of faith into a life in which darkness no longer holds dominion and light becomes the force guiding every step. The new earth is already being born in thousands of hearts, and yours can be one of them. The promise of abundance and expansion. Saint Germain reminded us of a truth that for centuries was hidden. True wealth is not measured solely in material possessions or numbers in an account, but in the degree of consciousness with which we live. Abundance is, in its essence, a spiritual state. It is the natural expression of a soul that lives in harmony with the light, that recognizes its divine origin, and that understands the entire universe as an infinite field of provision. When a human being enters into oneness with truth, reconciles with themselves and with the divine source, abundance begins to flow naturally in their life. It is not a forced abundance nor one pursued anxiously, but a current that arrives because the mind no longer blocks what the universe wishes to bestow. Saint Germain taught that scarcity is not a reality, but an illusion created by fear, disconnection, and the belief in separation. Where the soul feels limited, lack arises. But where the soul recognizes its creative power, prosperity opens in all its forms. The abundance he announced is not reduced to money nor to the material, though it includes it as well. It is far broader. It is health, love, creativity, inner peace, the capacity to expand and to share. The Master revealed that when the mind aligns with truth and the heart vibrates in gratitude, life itself responds with generosity. The universe is a mirror and returns multiplied what we project from within. In the new earth, this abundance will not be a privilege of a few nor the result of unjust systems, but a collective experience. For the consciousness of unity leads us to understand that we cannot be truly prosperous if others continue living in lack. The wealth of the new humanity will be shared, multiplied by love, and distributed justly, because there will no longer be room for competition or selfishness. Expansion will be natural, because every human being will understand that in giving one does not lose, but multiplies. Saint Germain showed us that abundance is a divine right, not a privilege. It is a state all of us can access when we stop clinging to scarcity and begin to trust the infinite provision of the universe. His promise is clear. When humanity awakens to this truth, it will live in a world where prosperity is the norm and not the exception, where expansion is constant, and where every soul can manifest its gifts without fear or limitation. That promise is already sprouting. Every time you choose gratitude over complaint, every time you share what you have with love, every time you trust that life sustains your path, you embody that abundance and help the new earth to manifest with greater strength. Because abundance, when it is born of the Spirit, is not hoarded, it expands. And when it expands, it transforms not only your life but the lives of all around you. The call to your soul. The legacy of Saint Germain is not a relic kept in the silence of history, nor a dusty manuscript contemplated with nostalgia. His teaching lives on because it was not given for a particular time, but for every generation of souls willing to awaken. Today, that legacy comes not as a distant memory, but as a burning call that touches your heart directly. And that call cannot be ignored, for it is a reminder of who you are and what you came to do in this life. You are part of this mission, not a passive spectator nor a casual listener. Within you dwells a divine spark that kindles every time you hear of freedom, light, and truth. That spark is the confirmation that you are part of Saint Germain's work, that you are one of the bearers of the violet flame in this decisive time. That flame is not outside of you. It is within, waiting for you to recognize it and activate it with your intention, your faith, and your commitment. To be a bearer of the violet flame is to be conscious of your capacity to transform, no matter what you have lived nor the shadows you carry. The moment you invoke that energy and apply it to your life, you become an agent of liberation. Every thought of love you decide to maintain, every word of truth you speak, every act of service you offer is like a seed of light you sow in the collective field of humanity. And those seeds bloom, multiplying in other hearts and creating a network of consciousness that nothing and no one can stop. Saint Germain reminds us that we are not here merely to survive or repeat old patterns, but to build a new earth. And to build it does not mean to raise cities or invent political systems, but to raise a new consciousness, to edify a new vibration, and to manifest a world where light is the foundation of everything. Every decree of transmutation you make, every time you choose compassion over judgment, every time you forgive instead of holding a grudge, you are placing a luminous stone in the foundations of that renewed humanity. The call to your soul is clear. There is no more time for indecision or delay. Transformation is not a future event. It is a task that begins here and now. Your very life can become the channel through which the new earth manifests. And though you may sometimes believe your actions are small, in the spiritual plane they are not. Every act of true love resounds throughout the universe. Every conscious choice opens a path for many more. Therefore, beloved soul, listen with your heart. You are not here by chance. Your spirit chose this time, chose this place, and chose this mission. You are a builder of the new earth, a sower of freedom, a bearer of eternal light. The world needs your voice, your strength, your love, and your faith. Answer the call, for the entire universe is awaiting your yes. Beloved soul, what you have received today is not a simple message nor just another spiritual tale. It is a sacred key that opens doors within you, reminding you that the cosmic legacy of Saint Germain is neither a distant teaching nor knowledge reserved for a few. That legacy is also your inheritance, because it forms part of the very essence of your being. It is not something external you must seek outside. It is a fire lit in the depths of your heart, awaiting the moment you decide to activate it and allow it to transform every aspect of your life. Today you have heard words that can mark a before and after on your path. But true transformation does not occur only by understanding them, but by living them. The new earth that Saint Germain announced is neither a utopia nor a distant dream. It is a reality that begins to be born the instant a human being remembers who they are and decides to express it in every thought, in every emotion, and in every action. That new earth is within you, waiting for you to make it blossom. Do not underestimate the power of what you have received today. You may think it is just a moment, just a video, just a few words. But on the plane of spirit, this is a renewed pact. It is the universe confirming that you are ready, that your time has come, and that your life can become a living testimony of the love, freedom, and abundance that Saint Germain came to reveal. Therefore, do not keep this message only for yourself. Share it with those you love, because it may be the spark that awakens sleeping hearts, the voice that restores hope to those who have forgotten their light, or the sign someone was waiting for to remember they were never alone. Return to these words whenever you need strength, clarity, or healing, for they are a constant reminder of your greatness and your divine power. Always remember that the violet fire already burns within you. You do not need to wait for something external to activate it, because its energy is alive inside you, waiting for you to trust and invoke it. The future is not a blank page nor an uncertain fate. It is already written in light, and your soul has the capacity to choose it and manifest it. Your destiny is not limitation, scarcity, or pain. Your destiny is to be free, abundant, whole, and divine. The moment is now, not tomorrow, not in a distant future. The call resounds within you and transformation has already begun. Take the step, ignite your inner fire, embrace your inheritance, and become the conscious creator Saint Germain always knew you could be. Because the new earth is not something that will arrive from outside. The new earth is you, and the entire universe is waiting for you to remember it. Thank you for making it this far. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't forget to watch the previous episodes. Each one is a key piece of this sequence that is transforming thousands of lives. See you in the next portal.